In a way, it also is an argument that a younger generation just simply does not understand. Julie and I were born in the late 80s, and I don't know about you, Jules, but I don't actually know the words to DSTEM. Do you?
I definitely don't know the words to the full song.
No, just to
not
the
at all.
bits in the national anthem. Yeah, Sipho, do you think that a lot of people who are, for instance, the generation on Twitter, for instance, really care?
I always feel like we try and weigh down South African kids with just way too much expectation, It's Nelson Mandela's children, they must solve everything. And I think that honestly, and even for people on either sides of the argument, I wonder if they don't just roll their eyes, and move on with their day when we start talking about these issues. And I wonder if it's not a sign that those of us who spend way too much time obsessing about this kind of thing have really missed the zeitgeist on this, and have really missed the boat. And I've been reading around actually, and I think South Africans, generally speaking, rolled their eyes and just moved on with their day when this issue came along again. It's not something that people feel way too bothered about. I think we've all just accepted that reconciliation, getting along, is the way that we're going to do it. And I think that young people reflect that as well. They just want to get along, actually.
I think that in the white Afrikaans community, it's maybe slightly different in that there's that section of the white Afrikaans community that feel really disaffected for some bizarre reason or another. And there, I think the feelings about the STEM is very strong, which the Steve Hofmeyer clip that you showed really demonstrated.
Right, but I think it's also very important to note, you and our editor-in-chief, Yanni, it's not all Afrikaners in this country. I mean, for heaven's sakes, I'm married to an Afrikaans man, and, it's...
For you.
Or lucky him.
Yeah, lucky him.
Yeah. But I think it's important to point out that not every Afrikaans South African is that person singing.
It's the same with anything in South Africa. We tend to see everything so much in terms of race. And we tend to essentialize race. So I think there's a difficulty or problem to just say all black people think this way, all white people think this way, all Xhosa-speaking people think this way, all Afrikaners think that way. It's not the same. This is exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Now, you touched on it earlier, Afrikaans really being a beautiful language, and in fact, DSTEM was written in 1918. It was a poem by C.J. Langenhoven, and really at the core of it, it's a beautiful piece of literature. And in fact, even Musi Maimane used parts of DSTEM in electioneering. Very, very clever. Everyone loves it when Maimane speaks Afrikaans. Do you ever see a way of us going back to the point where we've depoliticized DSTEM, where it can be appreciated for the piece of writing that it was initially intended to be?
Yeah, you see, maybe for a new generation that is possible. For me, I'm always going to have a certain connotation with it. Unlike other kind of Afrikaans writing, say if you quote to me Ingrid Jonker's Die Kind, which Mandela quoted in his first speech in Parliament, whenever I hear that I get tears in my eyes because it's so beautiful and it's the emotion, it's associated with the new world that we have created. For me personally, the STEM is never going to be like that. Maybe for newer generation it will, because as you say, many of you don't even know all the words of the STEM that we had to sing when we were children in apartheid South Africa every Monday and Friday morning in die saal, in die opening, after the skriftlesing en gebed.
I've got the most fantastic recollection. I was in grade 1 in 1994, and we were singing, obviously, the new national anthem. And I remember standing up with my little classmates singing the new national anthem. And our headmaster at the school was an older white English man. And he walked up to me during the assembly and grabbed me and gave me this massive hug. And I saw him walking down the line of kids and doing the same thing. And I remember thinking, this man is off his head. He's completely crazy. And in retrospect, I can see what a beautiful thing that must have been.
Yeah.
To have been in a mixed school with these kids who are starting off their career in 1994, it's an extraordinary thing to have a new anthem and the new country that we did have.
Yeah.
And I think for us as children, we didn't even question that was the national anthem, and and it was lovely. I really loved singing the national anthem, always.
Right. Judy, you've been keeping a beady eye on what's happening on social media. Let's hear what's happened.